Good afternoon, good morning, good night, good evening, wherever you are. This is Dr. Judith again. Recording from Georgia, sharing something of value and importance, hopefully, that will touch the lives of at least one that hears what I have to share. I have to be very direct and honest, as I always try to be. The previous recording that I did was done just about maybe 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes at the most. And this follow-up recording is, I am not sad, but I've been crying, I've been weeping in between the last recording that I did a few minutes ago and this one. And the last one that I did was on gratitude. And I got a text message while I was recording that last message. And that message dealt with gratitude. And while I was recording that message, there was a text message that came in from one of my older brothers. And he lives in Florida. And I just finished recording that message on gratitude, and I read this text message. And attached to the message was a picture of my dear father, our father, my father who died at the age of 76 in 1992, which is like 27 years ago. And I loved my father dearly. I am very grateful for my father. So the theme continues, gratitude. My father was one of the most imperfect human beings that I've known. But he was the best father for me. He made a lot of mistakes in relationship with my mom and in relationship with his children, including me. But I can tell you freely, so freely, he has made all the difference in my life. My father taught me a lot of who I am today. He taught me that I was pretty, that I was smart, and I was worthy of having wonderful discussions with him. My father and I spent, a lot of time together. My mom had migrated to the U.S. from Jamaica, and I had 3 younger siblings that I kind of guided them and shepherded them while my mom was in the States, and I was the oldest sibling there. And so I decided at 14 not to go back to school anymore, and I was going to stay home and take care of my family. That included my 3 younger siblings and my dad. And a brilliant man, an intelligent, bright, wonderful human being of greatest proportions. I mean, my father he read the dictionary. He loved words, and I have such a love for words, and I think part of that is my personality, but certainly part of it comes from him. And this man impacted my life and still impacting my life today, because so much of what I stand for, my passion for people, my love for people, my love for justice, my love for fairness, my willingness to stand up for those that are supposed to be less than, all that he impacted in my life. I had the great privilege of spending a great deal of time with my dad. My mom was here, and I was always more mature and more mature than my age. And so we would talk about anything, politics and sports. We used to watch horse racing together, and the game of cricket, which originates, I think, and as far as I know, from England. We spent a tremendous amount of time together, and a lot of who I am is because of what he placed in me. I mean, he told me about being a girl, and sometimes he said rotten things and mean things to me. And because, and as I try to tell people all the time, we have to remember that our parents were raised by imperfect people also. So they come to us with their imperfections, and they treat us according to what they know. And so it's not always the best and it's not always the greatest. But I can tell anyone my father's intentions were always the best. Did he always do the best? No. But his intentions. And for a girl, I've found out that I've made some bad choices where men are concerned over the years. But there was always something in me that would remind me that I'm more than what I was allowing to happen to me. And that came from him. That lesson, that message came from him. So I would, having made another bad choice with a male and done something really stupid, is that maybe it's his voice, I don't know, just what he instilled in me would come up in my thinking, would come up in my spirit, and I would say, no, I deserve better than this, and I would pull back. And so just seeing that picture of him, I have a picture of him here at home, but this picture, he's all dressed up and he's at a wedding of my oldest brother and his wife. And my brother in Florida that sent it to me got the picture from my oldest brother in New York and just shared it with me on my text message. And again, I am plummeted into the whole arena of gratitude. Grateful that despite his weaknesses and his flaws, and despite the way his mother raised him was not very kind. She did not love him. And even as a child, I saw that. She did not appreciate him for who he was, and my father suffered as a consequence. I mean, he was her only child, but she did not have the love that she should have had for him. And I saw that as a little girl. And I think what it did for me, it made me try harder to please him. And it made me want to be a better daughter to him, because I knew that it was something lacking in the way his very own mother treated him and how she raised him. And he, a brilliant man, bright man, so bright, so well spoken and well read. And had he just had a little push from her, a little encouragement, he might have been, I dare say, he would have been more of what he was meant to be. But I have learned over the years, and only recently, my oldest sister and I talked about this. I believe that despite what my grandmother, his mother, neglected to give him, that God had a purpose for my father in our lives. And even though he didn't do the fathering perfectly, he was a humorous man. He was so funny. He told us jokes. He laughed with us. He was an all-round human being. He was a messy man, but he was a great father in so many ways. And my mom, God bless her, she's 94 years old today, and I love her, and I want the best for her, and I'm grateful for her for all she's done for me. But she was just never that type of person. She didn't talk a lot. She didn't share a lot. She disciplined a lot. My father disciplined also. Don't get me wrong, he disciplined. But she spent more time disciplining and correcting, but he had the sense of humor, and he had the jokes and the funny, and he brought us ice cream, and he brought us cookies, and he brought us candy, and he was out of work quite a bit, but he would always make sure that we ate, even if it meant he didn't eat. I mean, we saw that daily, we saw that routinely in our lives, that no matter how flawed this man was, he made sure. And guys, let me tell you, the Bible says that the Lord will never leave nor forsake us. And I'm going to tell you, I got the closest thing to Jesus in my life when I was a child. I had the closest thing to Jesus. My father never left us, not once. He never left. He never left us. He never forsook us. He was there, good, bad, and indifferent. 9 of us. Things were different. Money was tight. Our housing situation we were always moving, but he was always there. He was always with us. And I am grateful for having known Ivan Gladstone Barnes. I'm grateful. And I know for sure that God provides. We might not have the money and the things that we want. And I was never big on those things. I just always wanted to be loved. I'm crying here, and I'm not going to apologize for it. It is part of my testimony. It's part of my story. It's part of my sharing. It's the realness of who I am. And so seeing this picture, just really just brought me back to this phenomenal man that had such great desires. And you know what? He didn't go to college, but like I said, well-read. You never believe he didn't go to college. Well-read, smart, brilliant man. But all of his children, all of us have done well. All of us have done well. And before he died, he got a chance to see us all having done well. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. Sorry. That my father got a chance to see his offspring all doing well. Successful college. We've all attended college. We've all achieved something of value. So that this is the merciful God that we serve. That what my father didn't get for himself, we got. We got for him. We got for him. And I try to remind my siblings to be kind to each other and to remember how blessed we are, because we are so fortunate. So fortunate. We're in our 60s and 70s now. One, the youngest among us, he's in his late 50s now. And the youngest girl, Ingrid, she died at 47. But she achieved a lot before she died. But it's not the achievements of themselves, it's that he planted seeds in us. He planted work ethic. He planted to be fair, to be honest, to stand up for things, to not be afraid to stand up for that which is right and correct. The passion that I have for justice, the desire that I have to do the right things came from my father. The desire to stand up for people that are downtrodden came from him. And that combined with the same desire of God, the same desire of Jesus Christ, the same desire of the Holy Spirit came on top of what my father imbued in me. And so I have a double dose. And then my personality, I think I have a triple dose. So I share this recording with you today because I'm grateful. I'm extremely grateful for having had my father. When he died, I think I was 32 years old. And maybe a little older. No, a little older. A little older than that. I may be around 33, 34, whatever it was, when he died. And so this recording is one of high gratitude, the highest gratitude. I saw that picture of him, and he looked so sharp, he looked so handsome, and he never thought he was a good-looking man, and he never thought this, and he never thought that. That picture, my father's sharp. And I just text my brother back, and I said, may I post this on Facebook? Because I just want to show him off. I mean, this is a man that I've loved all my life. And besides Jesus, he is perhaps the greatest love of my life. My son comes next, and my siblings. But between Jesus is first, but definitely my father is second. He was an imperfect man, but a perfect father for me. And like I said, he didn't do everything well, but for me, and I know from my siblings, despite their issues with him and him with them, that they also, because we have discussions from time to time about who this man was and who he is still in my heart. And folks, the things that my father shared with me are so similar to the things that my Heavenly Father has shared with me and continues to share with me. To love, to help out the poor. Even though he never had a lot, he always gave. He always gave to others. And my love for giving comes from him also. And then combined with the Lord, the Lord is teaching me to be wiser in giving, but it's there. And so he taught us to stand up for people, for the underdog. And I grew up very much an underdog in a lot of things, a lot of ways. And so he taught us how to stand up for the underdog, how to stand up for people who felt they were downtrodden. He felt downtrodden most of his life and certainly neglected by his mom. And sadly, he never got over that. She died. It's ironic. She died the same year that he died. She died in July of 1992, and he died in December of 1992. And I always thought how ironic it was that he left shortly after she did. But as I said, considering the previous recording that I did about gratitude, this follows right behind in the same thought pattern, the same trend, same train of thought. I am grateful for having had my father from birth until I was in my 30s when he died at the age of 76. And so it's so fitting that I do this recording. I didn't plan. And it's for me, a lot of these recordings that I do, I don't plan them ahead because I'm constantly in the place of thanksgiving and praise and gratitude to the Lord. And I mean, I talk about the Lord. I live him. I mean, most of the hours of the day. He's in my thoughts a lot. And so because of that, I write a lot about the Lord. And I listen to audios and I watch videotapes about the Lord. And I'm constantly growing. And my God, I'm talking to you and I'm realizing how much time I spend with the Lord. And so I pray and I ask him to guide me. And I try to, shut up so that he can speak to me. And it's an awesome life. It's a great privilege to live like this. And so to be able to now talk about my earthly father today in this recording, I am so grateful. And I also recognize, some time ago, I recognized that it's a setup. God gave me this imperfect earthly father that taught me so much, and yet I made so many bad decisions and choices. But I always came back to what he taught me. And guys, it's the same, just on a supersonic level. It's the same, just on a really supersonic, out of this world level, that God does the same. He trains me, he teaches me, he instructs me like my earthly father did on a really, really supersonic level. And I fail him. Just like I failed my earthly father at times, I fail him. But he's always there like my earthly father was to take me back. And though my earthly father is no longer on earth, and I pray, I know I must believe that he's with him, even though he always argued with the Lord because he felt that he had a bad deal. One of my brothers, he was older than me, died at 16. He had epilepsy and he died of pneumonia. And my father was always arguing and dickering with the Lord about why and why wouldn't he heal him. But I have to say this, that though he argued with him, he knew he was real, or else he would have argued with him. He knew God was real, or else he wouldn't argue with him about my brother's illness. He didn't argue about his relationship with his mom and how she treated him. He didn't ask the Lord to fix that. He asked him to fix my brother. And he did. He took him at age 16. And so he is forever fixed. And Mickey didn't have to suffer anymore. So I guess I got an answer right now. My father is with the Lord. He's where he belongs, and he's at peace. And I thank God. I thank God. I am grateful. And I'm grateful to share this very personal message with you today. And I pray that whatever I've shared here, maybe there's a healing needed in a family relationship. Maybe there's a letter that has to be sent to say thank you to a father or a mother. or a visit that has to be paid to a sibling, an offspring. I pray that what I've shared with you here today regarding my gratitude for my father, a picture sent by text, caused this message to be recorded. So if there's anything in what I've shared that maybe will push you or prod you, that will just touch something in you that maybe you need to address in your own family situation, your friendships, whatever it might be. If there's a seed that you've plucked out of this story, this sharing, I pray that you use it well. I thank God for the ability to share with you. I thank God for my willingness to share. And I ask you all to remember to be grateful always, even for the difficulties. As his word said, to be thankful in all things. Not thankful for all things, but be thankful in all things. Because in all things, he works out the good for us all who love and are called according to his story, to his life, to his relationship with us. So, as usual, and as always, thank you for having listened. This is Dr. Judith. A little tearful, but extremely grateful. Praying that you will continue to trust and believe, hold on to his unchanging hands, and that you'll come back another time to hear another sharing, another story, another something that will encourage you, invigorate you, help you to be more grateful. Until we speak again, until you hear my voice and I record for you again, God bless you all. And as they say back home in Jamaica, walk good.